So today, Representative Nancy Mace authored several alarming posts on X, starting with this one. Just walked out of a House Armed Services briefing on Iran. Let me repeat, I will not support troops on the ground in Iran, even more so after this briefing. She continued, the justifications presented to the American public for the war in Iran were not the same military objectives we were briefed on today in the House Armed Services Committee. This gap is deeply troubling. The longer this war continues, the faster it will lose the support of Congress and the American people. And she wraps up, Washington's war machine is hard at work. They're trying to drag us into Iran to make it another Iraq. We can't let them. And in fact, according to a recent poll, the war has already lost the support of the American people. According to the Associated Press, about 59% of Americans say US military action on Iran has been excessive. About half of Republicans say the US military action has been about right. But relatively few want to see it go further. Only about 2 in 10 Republicans say the US military action has not gone far enough, while 1/4 say it's gone too far. About 6 in 10 Americans somewhat or strongly oppose deploying US troops on the ground to fight Iran, including about 8 in 10 Democrats and roughly half of Republicans. Beyond the Goldilocks just right analysis here, Brett, what do you make of this waning support? And what do you think? We'll get into this more in the next couple blocks, but this does spell disaster for the MAGA coalition, for the Trump base, and Republicans in general, as they're already dealing with massive discontent for prices and other manifestations of this war.
Right. I think this is why it's very important for shows like this one to kind of be in this conversation, talking to people like this, because that is a very key aspect of what is undeniably a wedge issue, right? Like the wedge issue is there are people who in the Trump coalition, they love Trump no matter what. There's also war hawks who just kiss his ass. And then there are truly anti-war people who believed him when he said, we will not get into any more wars. And between that first chunk and the second chunk, there's not really much of a wedge. There's people who just like, it's a cult and they love having Trump as someone to be a fan of. But then there's all these people who are like Nancy Mace, someone who has been friendly to Trump at many points in her career. There's a lot of folks who just go like, yeah, I'm gonna do whatever Trump says because I wanna stay in his good graces. And then there's some that will speak out in this point. Now, when they do that, it is incumbent upon people who are against war or who just don't want Republicans to keep winning to get in there, have that conversation and say like, yes, if you want to stop this war, the answer is, given that we've had Trump twice as president and he seems to have completely deluded us and lied to us about being anti-war, we need to step up against this guy, band together and stop this kind of stuff before it gets even worse. As paratroopers are getting sent to Iran to do a ground invasion, and I haven't watched The Princess Bride recently, but one of the key quotes in it is, you've wandered into one of the classic blunders. The most well-known is never get involved in a land war in Asia. And that's what we want to do. Like Iran's sitting there going like, another element I think we'll talk about later is like, there are 2 kinds of countries in the international arena. Former empires and never empires. We have current and former empires and never empires. The US versus Iran. If you ask people who run Iran, they will tell you we are just a temporarily inconvenienced massive empire, as evidenced by the fact the person currying your position to us used to be part of our empire and will probably be again Pakistan. Not all of it, some of it. And this is the thing that everybody just thinks of themselves. Russia, like probably Italy, as we experienced in World War II, the UK, the US, and many, China, all kinds of places, Japan, think of themselves as former empires. And just how recently was the defeat, at the hands of whom, and who is making my life miserable, as I need to remind you on the international stage. I'm Iran. I control Straits of Hormuz. I control this whole area. That's what I should do. I'm the one, funneling resources to Lebanon so they could fight Israel. I got satellites, bro. You got satellites, but the difference is you're attacking my house. Like you live in DC. That's very far away. You're attacking my house. I'm going to fight harder than you. Also, I'm a former empire. Like I think that's the calculus. And Nancy Mason folks are allergic to that at this point, as well they should be. They should be calling out like, what are we doing? Tell me the last time we had a war of regime change that resulted in something dope for the United States.
Every time you ring the bell below, an angel gets his wings. Totally not true, but it does keep you updated on our live shows.